How is it possible that of all the motorcycles I've ridden, this Aprilia Tuono 660 Factory is officially the fastest one? It only makes 86 horsepower. I dynoed it, and I've ridden bikes like my Super Duke that are making 180, yet somehow, this is quicker. This is my Tuono 660 Factory, which I'm going to be using to race Chase on Two Wheels and 650E, and I've spent a lot of time riding this on the street, but that's not enough to get me ready to race. Luckily, Circuit of the Americas is 20 minutes from my house, and the folks at Ride Smart had a track day, so I suited up and headed out. My first stop, as always, is getting my suspension set up, because only goobers ride on the factory settings when you've got fully adjustable hardware. We're over here with Roger from On-Road Off-Road, again, my suspension guru, getting everything kind of just baselined out, because the only thing I noticed that was weird about it was when I was coming around a corner at like 90 miles an hour, it would get a little bit light, and I'm reckoning that's probably just a preload issue.
I think so. You're pretty, you don't have a lot of support at the rear, and on these, the factories, what I found so far is the front tends to be pretty firm, so they're not far off for a bigger guy. Rear is very soft, a little short on preload, and frankly use a little more spring. Easy to do if we need to, springs are cheap.
Yeah.
And a little preload and compression in the meantime, and just trying to balance out the two ends. That's kind of the main goal today.
Perfect, yeah, because today is just really, it's shaking it down. If there's anything I really need before we take it up to NJMP, that's when I'll bust the shock out and take it over to Roger, and he'll put a new spring in it. But we're getting it all set up today before the first session, because COTA's a fast track. Once the suspension was set up, I took a full day, 6 sessions, to try and get comfortable with the bike. Every time I've ridden on COTA, I've been on a different motorcycle, whether it's my CF Moto 800 NK, the Honda CBR 600 F4i, or a Harley Sportster. So I needed some time to recalibrate and refamiliarize myself with the line, since a 550-pound Harley feels slightly different than a top-shelf middleweight. Who would have thunk it? Yesterday, I spent all day getting to know this motorcycle, and I put down my fastest lap time ever by a country mile. I did a 2:56.8, which for me is pretty goddamn fast. And today the goal is to see if we can't cut another second or two off of that. But we're not just trying to go faster. There's a lot of ways that I can pick up time, and that's by being smoother, being more predictable, being more correct with the lines. And I'm gonna show you something that's really helping me out. This right here is my Alpinestars SuperTech R10. And for most folks, you know, it's a nice carbon fiber shell with some cool graphics. But what's really making the difference is actually nothing on the outside. It's actually on the inside. Right there at the top of the helmet, you'll see this pad. Underneath that pad, there's an orange slit plane, which is right there. That is what they call their A-head system. What that allows you to do is actually adjust the fit of this helmet so it sits more upright on your head. Let me put it on and I'll show you. Now you might be looking at me thinking that I look silly with the helmet sitting so far up on my forehead. This is where it's supposed to be when you're on a racetrack, so that when you're fully tucked in, you can actually see forward. I have way more vertical field of view, which is actually helping me look further down the track. So I'm actually impressed how one little piece of plastic can help out so much. Now, that's the advanced group. We're up next, so let's go grid up. Alrighty, folks. First session, well, second session, first real session in the books. And I've made a cardinal sin. I checked my lap times. I did a 2:56.7, so I shaved a tenth. I also was impatient. So that was the feedback I got from Pawpaw. He was saying that especially into turn 12 and turn 20, I was impatient. I was wide on 15. Unfortunately, the only lap that he got, because he was using a GoPro, was the first half of the first lap. So bonus points for DJI. More reliable camera. But we're gonna get back out there. I'm gonna slow things down intentionally this time, like I'm actually gonna do it, and really focus on what I'm doing, because I ended up blowing a corner over in sector 1. I made the mistake in turn 2. So this mistake happened early and it ruined turn 4. So I guess it ruined turn 3 because I rolled over turn 4 and into turn 5. So that one is probably me just going much too fast through there. I'm not sure if the cameras picked it up, but I yelled when I made the mistake. I knew it was happening while I was making it, and then I just kind of lost my focus, and I was just like, you know what, screw it. I'm not going to try to force anything here. Let's just roll over the curbing and get back to it. But hey, a tenth is an improvement. So let's see if we can actually be a little bit more accurate this time. Hey you, have you been paying attention and seen codes like this one right here throughout this video? There are 6 of them, and you can click the link down in the description below. Go over to creatorgp.com where you can enter that code to win some prizes. Today is the last day for you to win some of the big grand prizes, including cameras from DJI, brake-free helmet lights, some quad lock gear, motivation gift cards, and more. Click that link down in the description, enter those codes, and let's go back out on track. Now, I wanted to do something a little bit different here because I can't believe I didn't mention this while I was out on the racetrack, but I managed to hunt down a Ducati while I was out there. I'm not 100% sure which bike it is, but just by looking at it, I'm pretty sure that it's either a 1299 Panigale or a V4. I think I see wings on it, which means it's a V4 putting down 220 horsepower to my Tuono's 86. It does have a correction factor of 20% on the dyno I measured it on, so let's be generous and say it's 95, but still, that is way more than double what my bike is making. It's also worth pointing out that this is COTA. This is where big bikes go to have fun. And I still managed to chase it down, and I think that illustrates a point that I've tried to make in the past. So we're gonna pick this lap up here at turn 12, which is where I finally start to actually see this guy. This sector is always so tough. It's so hard to get right. I feel like we have pretty good lines through here on this lap, but it's one of the toughest parts of this racetrack. I'm still trying to put it together. This is where things start to get interesting. Look at how far ahead this guy gets on this super short straight. He at least doubles the length between us. However, once we get on the side of the tire, you'll watch me speed up through this corner and slowly start to catch up to him, to the point where when we're on the straight here from 18 to 19, I'm basically right on his rear wheel. And into this corner, let's see what the apex speed is 58. Remember that number for the next lap. I feel like if I had more drive, I probably could have caught him right there. That's a safe pass. Watch this guy's shifting. He short shifts this motorcycle and he still walks away from me. It's like ultimate disrespect. First gear, second gear, third gear, fourth gear, and then he's just gone. What do I do with that? You just have to let him go. I can't catch him. Watch what this Ducati does. Watch how they massacre my boy. First gear, I'm still there. Second gear, still there. Third gear, still there. Fourth gear, I'm gone. Nothing will illustrate to you how fast that motorcycle is than getting left in its dust on a racetrack. It's unbelievable how quick it is. But I managed to brake a little bit later. On this straight, because I'm not carrying as much speed and I'm on a lighter bike, I start braking at the 200, not the 250, which is I think where he got on the brakes. But you'll notice he's also carrying more speed into this corner, which pulls him off of 12, and he kind of gets thrown off through this whole sector. See, he's off the line there. And this is where he makes the mistake. He's early for turn 15, which means that he's going to shoot wide out of turn 15. And then he's got to come back left to make turn 16, which is going to leave the door open for me to pass him right through here. Safe pass, off to the right. And I'm carrying even more speed this time around. Still accelerating through this corner. Especially onto this straight. And watch how much speed I'm carrying into turn 19. 72 miles an hour. 14 miles an hour faster. So what do I attribute all this to? Honestly, it's how confidence inspiring the Tuono is. And I want to hop out in the garage so we can break down the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to the Tuono 660 factory on the racetrack. Now let's answer the question I know you guys are probably asking. Did I accomplish my goal? Did I shed some time between the 2 days? And the answer is yes, I did. On Saturday, I did a 256.8, and on Sunday, I did a 253.1. So almost 4 seconds quicker. And like I alluded to inside, I attribute that almost entirely to this motorcycle. Sure, me being more familiar with COTA on day 2 did help me speed up, but really it comes down to this bike being so confidence inspiring, and I specifically want to call out the front end here. The combination of the brakes, the suspension, and the handlebar width makes this so comfortable for me to ride. I've been able to just wail on this front brake. The suspension is there for me, and you know, it's debatable whether or not these rotors can keep up because they're looking pretty purple right now, but they're street rotors, so let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Also, they're not pulsing, so they're not warped yet. The motor also delivers super usable and predictable power without being overwhelming. That alone was allowing me to push just a little bit harder in the corners. And if you're gonna take anything away from this video, it's that if you're going out for your first couple track days, take whatever you want. You're gonna have a great time. You're gonna learn so much just because it's a different style of riding. But if you really want to start learning the craft, if you really want to start learning how to dissect a racetrack and go faster and learn body position and all this stuff, you may want to take a look at a smaller motorcycle, because I've learned so much more on this than any other motorcycle I've ridden. And that includes, spoiler alert for the next video, an M1000RR. Now, it's not all sunshine and rainbows for the Aprilia. There have been some issues that I've experienced. The biggest one that I want to call out is I've noticed that this transmission in particular does not like turn 15 at COTA, because basically every session, there were a couple where this didn't happen, but almost every session it hopped out of gear into neutral. That's called character. Now I'm gonna attribute that to two things. First and foremost, rider error. I have a feeling that that comes down to me making a mistake, especially in turn 15, probably not shifting down deliberately enough into first gear. I feel like I may not have meshed the teeth all the way, and that's probably causing it to just bump out of gear, especially once I'm putting a lot of load on the transmission under engine braking. Second, this bike has just over 1,000 miles on it, which means that this transmission is brand new, and I've had some KTMs take upwards of 3,000 to 4,000 miles for the transmissions to actually start feeling really good. Now, of all the mods that I've installed on this motorcycle, what has made the most difference? Was it the exhaust, adding a few extra horsepower? Was it the sprint filter, helping the motorcycle breathe? Was it, spoiler alert, some of the mods that are on here for the next video, like a gas cap and some levers and a bunch of other cool little doodads? No. Nothing made more of a difference for me than those tank grips right there. I've been able to dig my foot into the peg, send my knee into the tank, and loosen my entire top half up to just steer the motorcycle. I am now, after one track day, a complete die-hard evangelical for tank grips. You need to put them on every motorcycle you own. It doesn't matter if it's a Grom, a Harley, or a Super Sport. Get tank grips, you'll feel better, I promise you. Yes, even your trials bike. Figure out where to put them. I'm sure there's a spot. But yeah, tank grips, man. They're the bomb. Now stay tuned for the next video where this thing goes up against an M1000RR, because that one is gonna be super interesting. Catch you guys in the next one. See you later.